What? This is the sound of a emulsion injection machine. This is the sound of a injection mold machine trying to develop a brand new wheel. This is a new wheel being formed. This is a new wheel taking shape. This is a new wheel coming into a place of being now. Welcome to the news. So, what we're trying to move towards, what we're trying to get at today is something that's a little bit unique. It's a little bit cosmic in how we're trying to focus a little bit at a time in terms of partnership, development, and combining multiple activities in terms of forward growth and forward movement and forward motion in terms of partnership development that has to do with marketing energies, kind of like the cosmos, kind of like the stars, kind of like mystical lights, kind of like mystical flying little lights on the back of little mosquitoes that can fly at the same time as you walk in a whimsical place in the forest, woodsy type of atmospheres, and you see them and they surround you and they give you little bits of connection to your atmosphere by being little bugs that have little lights on them, and then they sort of attach you to a nature of whimsy in the universe at the same time on planet Earth, while at the same time imagining the imagination of little fairies and fairy dust existing through the use of these existing little insects that have little lights attached to them. But ultimately, what I'm talking about is marketing energy. What we're talking about and making the reference to is marketing energy and the concept of the connection of a wheel, and at the same time, like a well, like a wheel well. So, where we're all trying to go with this is that the essence of marketing energy is something that is in like the inside of the wheel well of a wheel, that in essence is like a well of all this energy that's kind of like pent up within the wheels of conceptual partnerships with marketing agencies in the future, in the short and the long term, to be able to try to test out different marketing agencies, to be able to kind of like have a powered by instance where we're able to leverage the essence and the power of marketing agencies, which in essence is like potential energy. It's conceptual potential energy, because their job, fundamentally, their function, just like a wheel, is to turn and to keep the item and the elements of new customers coming in and flowing. And it's at the same time on a car, for example, to the essence is to be able to try to keep the car on the road and to keep the car moving in a forward direction. And in essence, it has a similar function to a wheel on a car, but at the same time like the wheel of a rim, and at the same time the wheel of where the rim connects to the tire, and that is like a wheel well. It's a connection where the rubber meets the road, and that fundamental little analogy is something that corresponds to the essence of this marketing energy, which has to do with Digitech and Change for Game Studios touching the rubber of the tires to the road of life. In terms of the life and existing journey and company, Digitech and Change for Game Studios for the long road, to be able to try to finally generate and connect with the stars in the universe and this mystical energy known as marketing energy, and be able to meet that with the rubber of the road of life, of our forward journey, of our forward connection to monetary energy, because this is about more or less this cosmic energy that is marketing energy combined with monetary energy. It's combined with the value of monetary energy, because ultimately the purpose of this marketing energy is to be able to try to connect with the whimsy of the essence of the methodology of connection to the mindset with people, and people that are connected to the marketing agencies, in essence, to be able to make them hear a message, hear a certain communicative message, and hear that communication in a story narrative sense, and then to be able to take action, or want to take action, or be inspired to take action by the end of that message being received. So this conceptual potential energy is something that, like a whimsical fairy dust, like a whimsical magic dust, is in essence something like being able to try to translate and transfer the value of this monetary energy times marketing energy, and be able to mix it into a pot and be able to try to develop it into a new form of some kind of synthetic, mystical fairy dust type of mosquito with lights on it type of energy, so that in essence we're able to take our wheel well analogy and be able to move our vehicle, our business vehicle, so that in essence we're powered by the tires of marketing energy times monetary energy, which has to do with potential energy. And we're trying to be able to withdraw that and be able to make trades and transact upon that, but at the same time be able to shift that and be able to make trades of this type of energy with mixing marketing and monetary energy at the same time, and being able to flow with that monetary energy and being able to transact within certain loops that are self-fulfilling loops, in essence, like similar, I guess, to a transactional relationship with a real estate agent that is in essence able to buy and sell at the same time. One person can buy something and then sell that something, and at the same time it's possible to be able to make a little bit of profit in between. So ultimately that's the type of energy that we're trying to connect with in terms of marketing energy conceptualization. Marketing energy times monetary energy, because this marketing energy is like a symbol for conceptual monetary energy, and being able to try to trade those and being able to swap those is similar to last night's podcast where we're talking about shifting and negotiating the value of values, in essence, by shifting the nature of values to different people in the world, because there's different cultures, there's different people, and there's different demand and different supply, and those things can shift based upon perspective and perspectivization, and leveraging perspectivization and leveraging shifting perspectivization, leveraging shifting moods, leveraging shifting conceptual preferences, leveraging shifting perspectives and perspectivizations based on mindsets and experiences, and having a conceptual potential to be able to want to fulfill certain demand after being caused to be in that certain frame of demand by being brought to that frame of demand through an experience. For example, something like having water at the end of a marathon and putting on the marathon, hosting the marathon. So you're in essence creating the experience to then be able to actually create the demand at the same time, because at the end of the marathon you are a water company, and ultimately you want to sell a bunch of water by creating the demand for that water, by creating the marathon to begin with, so that at the end of the marathon everybody is going to be buying water. They're not going to be buying like spaghetti. They're not going to be buying spaghetti. There'll be a spaghetti factory right next to the water factory, and the one that has the most demand typically wins, even if it's better quality spaghetti than it is the quality of water, which is a joke, because that's obviously not the way that healthiness works. Yeah, so ultimately we're trying to be like this way, being able to trade and negotiate the value of values by being able to develop experiences which are able to create shifts in demand by being able to fundamentally develop new mindsets, which then therefore is able to shift the demand of supply and demand from things that are once in supply to make them into demand, which is something that's not made to be manipulation, but fundamentally to change the nature of the games, so that the games cause the interest to be able to then create new demand based on the nature of preferences for those games and for those experiences and for new experiences, which is what, in essence, fundamentally in the cosmos, in looking into the universe, that marketing energy is intended to do. It's intended to produce new actions through the process of developing new experiences and new causes that produce new effects, in essence, and those effects, in essence, are supposed to be what the products are that we're trying to serve to people, ultimately only after the causes are brought on, which develop the experience, which then actually causes new demand to be brought to the table, ultimately. So it's like we're inventing demand at the same time, which then therefore invents the need for supply. After all, whoa. And that's where the cosmic nature of this wheel that we're trying to develop and churn with in partnership with marketing agencies sort of comes into fruition in the near term and in the long term, ultimately, after all, because ultimately that's the purpose of marketing agencies, in addition, is to be able to serve that purpose. And the fundamental function of that wheel of a marketing agency is to be able to turn and churn new customers for new businesses and earn new business energy, in essence, on a consistent basis. And after all, that functionality, that methodology, it's something that fundamentally is able to serve and reserve different stories and different narratives for different people and different demographics to be able to get them to experience new experiences, such as a marathon for people that never experienced a marathon before, so that in essence they are driven and inspired to, for whatever reason, especially philanthropy energy as the cause, as the incentive, as the new world reason to be able to take new actions, in essence, to be able to take marathons, for example, especially marathons that are causing the cause to be able to raise new awareness to new problems and new technologies which can solve new problems around the whole world in a perpetual philanthropy energy generating sense of a process. So that everybody, in essence, wants to participate in these new forms of marathons that are able to fundamentally, like something called touchlight power, be able to generate new fundamental electricity by stamping on different electricity pieces that are able to then, therefore, let's just say, power different villages around the world that don't have power, have never experienced power. And not only could that power generate new power in different villages around the world that's never experienced power, but that power could also power their ability to get education and internet and all this information resources that they've never experienced ever before because they don't even have electricity. So we'll just pretend that these marathons are able to develop that electricity, which can be fundamentally sent to these different places in the world to be able to illuminate and electrify and electricity-ify different places in the world, which all encompassingly gives them education and new world abilities to be able to fundamentally develop completely new societies based around just the reception of new electricity. And this new electricity is also known as philanthropy energy, philanthropy energy, philanthropy energy. Philanthropy energy, philanthropy energy, philanthropy energy. So we need to get back to producing philanthropy energy by developing these type of marathons where, for example, we are generating this type of power where these power lines are able to be able to send this power through the world, through the air in essence, and develop this process to be able to send this power through the air at the same time by, well, we're just kidding. We can just pretend that we're going to send it to them through wires because we do have wires that connect the whole world. And so we're just going to make this marathon that we're generating about generating new electricity, which is going to be powering and developing philanthropy energy because we're developing actual philanthropy energy because it's philanthropic to be able to develop this electricity and this energy to be able to send it to different places hypothetically in the world to be able to power different villages and educate people because it also powers the internet to be able to give them, people in the world that don't have internet and also electricity, all of the resources at one time because we can just power all these villages all at the same time just through electricity by giving them all the resources at once. And so therefore that justifies the reason for people to want to step up and then participate in these so-called marathons in essence generate these electricities because it's all these power generators that are underneath the ground, underneath the place where the marathon is going to happen in essence to generate extra electricity based on this marathon. And so that incentivizes the people to be able to take these experiences and to make these experiences and for us to be able to market with more marketing partners around the world to develop loops, similar to this electricity generation underneath the ground, and us to be able to continue to trade marketing energy for monetary energy, and then to be able to trade that in for philanthropy energy around the world. And then, just like that water company, be able to then, upon creating new demand, be able to sell to people who are tired at the end of the marathon, give them some water and sell to them some water if they want to be able to also contribute more monetary energy to the cause by buying some water at the end of the marathon. And the people that are selling spaghetti at the end of the marathon are fundamentally not necessary or not necessarily needed because ultimately the new demand shift has been caused by Digitech and Change for Game Studios, and that is the whole future of Digitech and Change for Game Studios, the company, the brand, Digitech, Change for Games, Digitech, Change for Game Studios. That is what we're trying to move towards for sure, be able to shift these essences of trends and demand fundamentally to then therefore be able to direct new products that are able to also pipeline in the direction of new cause demand with new supply, and then therefore we're shifting the whole supply chain in effect and new markets by developing new processes in the meantime and also developing new philanthropy energy as a whole. And we also want to develop new marketing energy loops, just like a wheel turning and churning, in the wheel well. The wheel well is like a well of this mysterious universal energy. It's like a well that's hosting and holding this mysterious universal marketing energy, which entails the fundamental energy that entails unfulfilled potential. It entails unfulfilled potential. It entails potential that can be filled and fulfilled by the incentivization and the inspiration that is caused by narratives being generated by marketing agency energy that is combined in times with and multiplied by monetary energy times marketing energy to be able to develop trades by renegotiating the value of values with humanity by developing new demand and renegotiating the value of values and re-establishing new value on things that are not so valuable today to be able to re-establish and negotiate the value of values to then be able to trade at a higher cost in the future based on the nature of monetary energy and being able to repurpose that monetary energy into philanthropy energy and then fundamentally being able to hopefully change the whole nature of the whole fabric of the whole world into a philanthropy energy inspired causing system that is worldwide and global to connect all human beings in a global philanthropy energy grid that connects all human beings by this electricity that is known as philanthropy energy. And the Philanthropy Energy Grid. Thanks again. Bye, Dinky Tech. Bye, peace. Bye, Dinky Tech Change for Games. Dinky Tech. Bye, Dinky Tech Change for Games Studios. Bye, peace. Bye.